there, my name is Anna Vancina and I'm a Food Corps Service member. Today I'm at Interfaith Food Shuttle's Camden Street Learning Garden, located just a few blocks away from the heart of downtown Raleigh. At this site, Interfaith Food Shuttle employees grow food for programs, host gardening and cooking workshops, and support community gardeners. Let's take a look around. In our garden, we have space to grow fruits and vegetables, a greenhouse to start seeds in, water cisterns to keep our garden watered, a shed to store our tools in, and we even have beehives and composting for community members to learn about. So we've seen all of these cool things in our community garden. But what exactly is a community garden? A community garden is a space where residents of a particular neighborhood or area can grow their own food. Community gardens usually have garden beds like this one here, and each gardener gets a garden bed to plant in. A garden bed is a box that can be made of wood or other sturdy material. Garden beds come in all different shapes and sizes. After a garden bed is built, the inside is filled with soil for plants to grow in. A community garden is different from a backyard garden. This is because the garden is not at a person's home, and many gardeners share the space. This means people who can't grow food at their own homes, such as people who live in apartment buildings, can have the opportunity to grow their own food. Let's take a tour of the garden. The early spring is a time when lots of green, leafy vegetables are grown. Right now, our gardeners have lots of kale, lettuce, spinach, and collard plants growing in their garden beds. In the summer months, when the weather is warmer, you might find peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers growing in the garden. There are many different ways to water plants. Some of our community gardeners may use a garden hose or a watering can. Many of our gardeners have an irrigation system set up in their garden bed. Irrigate means to give water. The irrigation system is set up with a hose that trails along the top of the garden bed. There are very small holes in the hose, allowing droplets of water to drip out. With this irrigation system, the plants are slowly watered all day long. Many of our gardeners get creative by putting decorations on their garden beds. Each garden bed has a sign with the gardener's name on it, and they will often paint them with fun, bright colors. One gardener even has a cute frog statue on her garden bed. The signs and decorations help to make sure that everyone remembers which garden bed is theirs. Now that we know what a community garden is and how a community garden works, we can get some more of our questions answered by a few of our community gardeners themselves. Let's go meet them.
Hi, my name's Shy, and I've been a gardener here at the Camden Street Community Garden just this year. Started a few months ago and recently planted, and I really enjoy it.
My name is Brianna Carden, and I'm from Raleigh, and I've been with Camden Street Community Garden for about 4 years.
What made you want to join a community garden?
Well, I wanted to join a community garden because growing up, my grandmother had a really beautiful green thumb. She grew a lot of flowers and vegetables, and I kind of hovered over her and watched and learned from her. And at the time where I was living, I didn't have the space to plant a garden myself, and I found out about Camden Street Community Garden, and I've been here growing ever since.
What is your favorite fruit or vegetable to grow, and why?
So, I recently planted, and I planted all sorts of stuff, tried to plant a lot of veggies and stuff so that I can, use them in the kitchen. But probably my favorite thing to grow so far is going to be chamomile, I'm going to say, because I like the way it just springs right up and it just spreads. So another one of the gardeners here had it in her garden, and she showed me how it just spread like wildfire. So I really am excited to see my chamomile come up and see how widespread it can grow. I'm really excited about the chamomile, and I have like a really good relationship with herbs. I think I love herbs, so I'm excited to see the chamomile.
What is something that you've learned from gardening?
Well, I've learned quite a bit from gardening, but the main thing that I've learned thus far is patience. Going through the process of putting the seeds in the ground and understanding that even though you're excited about, the end result, just kind of, going with the flow and understanding that things take their time, and then finally seeing the end result and just seeing how nature does its job. And it all requires patience. So,
what is the best thing about being a community gardener?
I would definitely say the best thing about being a community gardener is just the ability to learn and grow with others. So as opposed to having like your own private garden at home, you get to interact with people who may know a little more than you or who can teach you things. This is my first time ever gardening, and like I said, I just joined a few months ago, but I've already learned so much. There's classes here that you can take to kind of help enrich your growth process and your learning, and then you have other gardeners like Bree has taught me already so much, and just things that you wouldn't know and interactions you wouldn't have otherwise.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a community gardener?
Well, the main advice I would give someone that's thinking about joining a community garden is to just go for it. You really don't have anything to lose. I think that joining a community garden and learning how to grow your own food is very, very important. And it's really rewarding. What I mean by that is you're able to watch the process and grow your food and actually enjoy eating it and utilizing it, using it. So if you're thinking about joining the garden, and just do it, just go for it.
Absolutely. I definitely think that if you're thinking about joining community garden, it's a good idea to just jump out there and go for it. You can do some research. There's a lot of community gardens around here. Of course, I like this community garden. But there are, different ones, and they work different ways. But I would definitely say just don't be afraid. Just jump in, get your feet wet, learn a lot. I think that one of the biggest pieces of advice I would have for a future community gardener is just to learn as much as you can. Take advantage of all the resources that they have available and learn as much as you can.
As we've seen, this is a really great community garden, but we also see that it takes a lot of hard work to keep a community garden going. So why is it so important to have community gardens? There are a few reasons.
Not only does a community gardener plant their crops, but they also get to harvest them too. This means the food a community gardener cooks with and eats is fresh from the garden. Fresher foods have a higher amount of nutrients in them, which means they are able to give your body a greater boost of energy than foods that are grown far away from your community. Food grown in a community garden usually stays in that community. Our gardeners often share their harvest with friends and family, and once in a while, all the community gardeners make a big feast to enjoy eating together. Sharing food brings people together and builds a strong community. There are many health benefits that can result from working in a garden. Gardening is a great way to get physical exercise, and science shows that microbes in the soil can help us fight off disease by strengthening our immune systems. Working in a garden and spending time outdoors can also improve your mood.
If you enjoyed this lesson, try some of the following activities to learn more about gardening.
Interview someone you know who has gardening experience. You can use the questions we asked our community gardeners in this video, or think of your own. Are there community gardens in your city? Research where community gardens are located in your area. Get creative and draw your dream community garden. Draw a garden bed for each family member or friend that you would want to be a part of your community garden. Ask them what fruits or vegetables they would want to grow and draw those plants in their garden beds. Don't forget to include a garden bed for yourself too.
Thanks for checking out Camden Street Community Garden with me. See you next time.